Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering Write My Book for Me. Getting help writing your book is actually more common than you think, and it's how your favorite celebrity's book probably got completed. By the end of this video, you will learn all about book ghostwriting, from how popular it is to all it entails, and why it's worth it for you to consider working with a ghostwriter. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. There's something I like to do when I go to the bookstore. I'll pick up a book by a popular author, celebrity, thought leader, and look to see who they credit in the acknowledgments for the book. Sometimes it's a literary agent, sometimes it's a publisher, sometimes it's a researcher, sometimes it's a helper, sometimes it is a guide or somebody else helping to bring the story forward. And most of the times, these people are actually book ghostwriters. These are people who are helping the author to bring their story forward, but they're not always credited as such. That's why it's called ghostwriting. It's behind the scenes. You're a ghost, you're hidden. But it's like a friendly ghost, like Casper. It's not like a mean ghost. I've been a ghostwriter for books for the last 6 years, and I've written or ghostwritten more than 30 books. And it's been such a meaningful process to work and collaborate with the authors I work with, to help them bring their messages forward, to help them refine their story and make sense of it and clarify it and make it relatable to readers. You know, ultimately, I view myself as a generalist, and I think that's a great approach because it means I'm thinking of it in terms of the reader perspective. You know, when I'm working with somebody, they're an expert in a certain space. I might not be an expert in that space. I'm the story expert, they are the thought expert, the idea expert. And between the two of us, we kind of come up with something really special and unique and profound. There are lots of book ghostwriters out there. It's a specialized focus, but there are people in book spaces, on LinkedIn, across the web that do this kind of work. And it's always interesting when people ask me what I do for a living. Someone asked me recently at a party what my job was, and I said I help people write books. Because when I say book ghostwriter, it's like, oh, what is that? And then it becomes this long conversation. When I tell people that I help people write books, I think it makes more sense, and that's kind of what I do. And that's what book ghostwriters do. They help people write books. They help authors bring their messages forward. But it's an interesting process, you know? A lot of times when people think of book ghostwriters, they think of somebody like locked away, just typing away on their own. And that's not really how this works. It's very collaborative. When I have an author I'm working with, we typically will meet once a week for about an hour a week. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It really depends on availability. But we try to meet weekly, consistently, to make, you know, gradual process. We usually meet weekly, consistently, to make consistent, gradual progress. And it's such an interesting thing to start with this idea. You know, it always starts with an idea. This is the kind of book I want to write. These are some similar books. I want to be in this space. I want to become a thought leader or a public speaker, take the next step in my journey. You know, after we figure out what the idea is and we figure out what their purpose is for writing the book, and we figure out the foundation, because the foundation is important. You really want to spend some time. Typically takes a couple weeks to a month to really figure out and unlock the foundation. You know, when you build a house, you start with the foundation, and a book's the same way. Building that structure, building the outline, figuring out what you want to accomplish with the book can make the writing process a lot easier. After the foundation work comes the writing itself, and that can be a lot of fun to really explore the space, understand, you know, what we want to include in the chapters, talk through each chapter and figure out what we really want to say. What's the message? You know, what's the point of this? Why does this matter? And by doing that, you know, we have this conversation, then I take this audio. I take the audio of our conversation, I turn it into automatic text. I use text-to-transcription tools to create this text that I work with and shape and mold and, you know, chip away at until we have a chapter. You know, we build this up and add some research and sprinkle in some, you know, good energy, and there is a chapter. And it's a lot of fun to be able to see that come alive. And then to send a chapter to the author and for them to say, you know, I love this. This sounds exactly like me. Well, it's because it was built on your voice, you know? It can be really meaningful to work with a ghostwriter who understands the space, who feels confident in their approach, who has a system. It took me quite a while to get my system down, my ghostwriting system. You know, I think anybody in any profession, once they do it long enough, they kind of figure things out. It's one thing to be able to say, I did it. It's another thing to say, I repeated this again and again and again, and I got really good, and I refined this process. And with ghostwriting, it took me a long time to really feel confident in it. For a while, it felt like I was writing as myself, trying to act like somebody else, trying to embody their words, but it sounded a lot like me. And I remember some of those early projects getting a lot of pushback. This doesn't sound right. This isn't how I would explain things. It was too much of my own writing. And by being able to pull back and being able to let the author's voice come out more, it really unlocked my power as a ghostwriter to be able to tell other people's stories and to tell it in the most effective way. But again, it took a long time to get there. And that's something that's important to stress. When you're thinking about writing a book, this is the great unknown for you. Your first book is a complete unknown. This is a scary thing. It's a challenging, overwhelming thing, and it can be a big burden to want to write a book and be successful in this space without really doing this before. It took me years to get comfortable in this space, and I'm still learning new things. So for somebody as a new author to jump into it and feel confident, it's probably not going to happen. And I think that's a big benefit to working with a ghostwriter or even a writing coach. When you're working with professionals, they can show you, a little bit more of what this process entails. They can help you move forward with confidence. Confidence is the key. You want to feel confident in this process, and by working with high quality professionals, it's going to be a smoother path to get there. But at the same time, there's a balance because the higher quality professionals cost more money. So it's a balance of cost. Typically with a professional ghostwriter on a full project, starting price is $25,000 to $35,000, and that's broken up throughout the project. You might pay a certain amount to get started and then pay for different milestones that you reach with the project. That's a lot of money. So it's a balance of having the money to work with a ghostwriter and working with somebody who's high quality. At the same time, there's people that will write books for less money, that are less experienced maybe, kind of new to this process. They may be very good, but maybe not proven. Maybe they don't have confidence in themselves yet as a ghostwriter. So it's possible to find ghostwriters for less money. Money is not the only predictor of quality, and you could pay more money and get less quality. So it's really about doing your homework. It's really about when you connect with a possible ghostwriter to meet with them. Follow your gut. A lot of times I tell people to follow their gut. If they don't feel right, if this interaction, this communication doesn't feel great to them, don't move forward. You don't have to say yes. You can say no. There's other ghostwriters out there. It's a matter of following your gut, feeling like this is the right step to take. I recommend also to follow up on your ghostwriter's references. You'll probably want to work with other people they've worked with previously to see how that process went, to see what it felt like to work with them, whether they were easy or difficult to work with, whether they were successful or not. You'll know from having those conversations. So it's really important to do that groundwork for yourself, to do that background work, to know that you're moving forward with confidence and clarity. When you think about the cost of ghostwriting and you think about potentially hiring a lower quality ghostwriter, I want you to rethink that for one reason. It's not to say that you can't find somebody who's good at that price point. What I would say is that the lower you go, the more you're probably going to have to really, really micromanage and look over their shoulder, and you might not fully trust them. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. It really does depend on some of the conversations you had, talking to their previous clients, those sorts of things. But at the same time, you don't want to have to look over your shoulder every single moment, and you don't have to check every single thing that your ghostwriter writes because you don't fully trust it. Did they use AI? Did they cut corners? Is the work original? Are they doing exactly what they should be doing? Are they guided by some professional ethics? Do they have a background in writing, editing, something? You'll want to find somebody who has that background and that experience, and you want to make sure that there's trust there. Trust is huge in this process. If you don't have trust, it's really tough to feel confident in the book that this ghostwriter is helping you write. So you want to be guided by trust, you want to be guided by the sense of purpose, and you want to know that the book that you're writing is going to have an impact. And finding the right ghostwriter could cost more money, but I think it could be worth it in the end because it's going to give you the outcomes to help you take the next step in your life. That it's going to unlock the opportunities that you're seeking. So even if there could be cost incurred at the beginning of this process, you could see so many returns and so many opportunities and doors open because of it. If you want to learn more about this topic of write my book for me, I want you to visit my website. It's goodghostwriter.com. You can click the link below. And when you visit there, I have samples, I have testimonials, I have videos. I also have the chance to schedule a one-on-one strategy call with me. I would love to talk to you. I'd love to share some insights and perspectives and learn more about your book and how I might help you. It'd be fun to see if there's a connection there and if I can point you in the right direction. So check it out and I'd love to meet. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.